state of after school briefing on Lights On After School Day back on October 24th. We're really fortunate to have the Children's Hunger Alliance be a really strong supporter of that. Judy Mobley, their CEO came, and she did a great presentation on food insecurity. We had Michael Harlow from Fight Crime, Invest in Kids here in Ohio. He brought retired General Thomas Dillard, who actually still volunteers in after-school programs in Cincinnati, and he was able to talk about his experiences both in as an enlisted service member and also as a person who works with kids all the time. So that was really impactful. And then finally, we had Beth Urban, the COO of Impact Community Action. She was able to talk about workforce development and her experiences working with kids over the years. She was the former education director at Homeless Families Foundation, and talked about the work there that she did with a particular young man. That was a really impactful story. So we were fortunate to have some great partners when we did the State of Ohio briefing. The back of the one-pager also has some calls to action. And so it was, there are 3 calls to action for our legislators. 1, get involved with the network, sign up for our mailing list, but also engage with your local after-school program, look to them for best practices and ways to utilize after-school programs for addressing some of these big issues that are happening in communities. And then also, there's a mention there about the student wellness and success dollars that has been allocated for this year and next year from the governor's budget. That money can be used for wraparound services, and after-school programs are excellent partners in utilizing that funding efficiently for school districts. So the map and the one-pager, they're awesome tools. They're great tools. The network plans to use them in a variety of ways. But also, I think that these tools can be used by people in the field almost more effectively than the network can, because you are many, and the network, the network, OAN, me, and I'm just one person, but getting those tools out to all of you guys to be able to use, I think that's the goal of this project. We want you to be able to use them for things like advocacy, for research, and also to be connected to the field. So, if you're going to, let's say, a school board meeting, and you want to talk about, the awesome snacks that you're serving at your after-school program, I think you use this one-pager as a way to kick off that conversation. Talking about Ohio being 48th in the nation for serving after-school snacks. Across the state, we're really struggling. And maybe your program is doing a great job of it. And I think that highlights the value of what you're doing and the impact that you're making in your community. Also internally, if you are in a school district and maybe teachers or school principals struggle to understand the big picture of after school and how your piece fits into it, you can use this one pager to open some conversations and to get people's minds thinking about really what after school programs actually do. I think that internally or externally, this document can be used for great advocacy. And then also research. When we were convening our data analysis team, what kept coming up again and again was that, if you're in a rural community or if you're maybe in a really dense urban community, you might not know where other after-school programs are. You might not know who's serving kids in your community. So using this tool, you can take a look at the map and see, there's another program that's, maybe in the next county over or the next community over that we could partner with to work on a project or to, when I was an after-school director, I would convened all of the local school-age serving programs, childcare programs in my community, and we would, pool together for summer camp field trips because we get a better rate if we had more kids. Or we would collaborate on a big Lights On after school event downtown in our local pavilion. So just kind of knowing where they are and how to get a hold of them, this map can help you do that. And then I think finally, being a part of a project that's big and meaningful for our state and is bigger than just one program is really important from an advocacy standpoint. Being connected to the after school and summer learning field, understanding where your place is. I think that's a really valuable way to use this tool, just for your own peace of mind, and also to sort of, understand where you are in the big picture. So when to access the map, you can go on to the Ohio Afterschool Network website, and you can get there at www.oanohio.org. Once you get to the website, at the top of the page, there's a blue bar with all these tabs on it. If you click the resources tab and then go down to find a program, you will see our absolutely beautiful data map. It's gorgeous. It's lovely. It's amazing. It's a map. Each of those little orange pins that you'll see on there represents a program. And if you click on an orange pin, you'll be able to see the location, contact information, all of this data that we've been collecting on each of the programs. Below the map, there's a little box that says, hey, here's what this map does. So you can take a look at it and show and see, all the things I was talking about before, providing information and informing stakeholders. And if you scroll down a little bit more, it talks a little bit about the State of After School in Ohio report. You can click on a link in the paragraph box there that will get you straight to the reports. You can download it, print it, whatever. But it also references several of the resources that we used in creating this, including some information from After School in Ohio, from the After School Alliance, a letter to Congress I'm going to talk about in a minute from Fight Crime Investing Kids, the Ohio Joint Study Committee on Drug Use and Prevention in Ohio, and then the Ohio Governor's briefing book that was provided to me from Children's Hunger Alliance. So all of those resources that are referenced in the one-pager that we'll talk about here in a second, they're also linked here on this page. And then a couple other things I want to flag that are on the website. Number one, a deeper analysis of what we did when we were reviewing this data. And then also, as I mentioned previously, if you're interested in submitting your program data, there's also a link on the website page that you can submit your program data. Again, that's oanohio.org. So thinking a little bit about the map and taking a look at the map, I think a couple things that struck us were that we're definitely missing some counties, and we knew that based on our data analysis, but also when you take a look at the map, it's very obvious that particularly over in Southwest Ohio, Northeast Ohio, up between Dayton and the Toledo area, there are some big areas where we don't have any information. And so the data collection team made a few hypotheses about why we don't have that information. One reason may be because of the timing of the project. We were trying to collect this data over the summer when a lot of programs maybe aren't engaged or don't know if they're coming back because maybe they're 21st century. They don't know if they're going to get funded. Maybe they're on vacation. Maybe they saw the information from OAN but didn't have an opportunity to submit their data to be included in this data mapping project. And so for those programs, I would say, hey, there's still time. So, hey, jump on the website and submit your stuff. Another hypothesis is that the programs in the counties where we're not seeing any reporting, maybe they're not connected to the network. And so that's a little concerning to us because we know that, programs that are connected to the network aren't also taking advantage of the resources that we have available for them. The national lens that we give to our state and local programs. So we definitely want to get them connected. That way they can take advantage of what OAN has to offer. And the third hypothesis is that there aren't any programs in those areas. So that maybe is the most concerning of all. We know that from the After School Alliance statistic that for every one kid in an after-school program, there are 2 more that are waiting to be served, and that in our state we estimate 431,000 kids are not in a program. So that is completely possible, but we certainly hope it's not. So there's obviously some work that still needs to be done, some questions that we weren't able to answer within our grant timeline. And so there's some more thinking about this that we want to do. So the one pager that goes along with the map, like I mentioned before, the front page of the one pager talks about the state of after school in Ohio. It talks about the data mapping project that we did. It lists the counties that we were able to connect with. It shows a picture of the map. It talks about the different data that we were collected, but it also talks about why after school matters in Ohio, Ohio's investment in demand, and then a little bit more about the map. So the backside of the one pager is really one thing I want to dive a little bit deeper into here, because it lifts up 3 prickly issues that are challenges here in Ohio that after school programs can help solve. So let's talk a little bit about preventing risky youth behaviors. The timing was great back in October because the Council for a Strong America has an arm that is called Fight Crime, Invest in Kids. And they released a new report talking about the value of after-school programs as a strategy to reduce youth crime and violence. They say in that report that after-school programs reduce crime, boost academics, improve behavior, lead to healthier habits, and save money for communities. And also here in Ohio, we talk about the hours of 3 to 6, but one thing that the report does highlight is that it's actually the hours of 2 to 6 for peak time for crime in Ohio. So that additional hour needs to be included in our communications. We were able to pull up a couple of statistics to highlight the state of after school, the state of drug use here in Ohio. In 2017, Ohio had the second highest rate of opioid overdoses in the United States, and the governor was the attorney general at that time, Mike DeWine, and he convened a committee to analyze this and to make some recommendations about ways to address this, and providing more after-school programs, high-quality after-school programs, was a strategy that was recommended by this commission. More than 1,200 U.S. police chiefs, sheriffs, prosecutors, and violence survivors agree that after-school programs work. So these folks signed on to a Council for a Strong America, Fight Crime, Invest in Kids report, or letter to the U.S. government, advocating for continued support of 21st century community learning center programs in our country. They said that those programs are the key to addressing risky youth behaviors in the United States. So our best practice recommendation here was to use after-school and summer learning programs as proven, research-based strategies to reduce youth drug use and promote healthy habits in our kiddos. Another issue that we were trying to bring to light with this one-page report was about the need for food in Ohio. As I mentioned previously, and on the OAN website, we have the governor's report from Share Our Strength that talks about how Ohio ranks 48th in the U.S. for after-school snacks and meals. We're only reaching 5% of our potential to serve these kiddos snacks and meals. You have to have after school programs